Right, we'll just do a quick audio check. Let's see how this sounds.
Audio check.
Yeah. Right, we've got stuff coming through to both YouTube and Thing. Just speaking with Zaber so I can see you've got stuff coming through to you.
Saying things about the rant nerds and stuff. We're doing the thing. We're being live, doing the podcast. And it's awesome. Is that enough?
Yeah, that's all coming through. We've got audio from you. That's the main thing. Good. Good day, everybody. I'm Suffolk Cram.
I'm Zabermoul.
Welcome to episode 229 of the Randers podcast, and you'll notice a slight change. We have a new co-host.
That's me.
That's Zaber. So, Zaber, tell us about yourself.
I'm Zabermoul. That's basically it. No, I used to do YouTube a lot back in the day. Played a lot of World of Warcraft. I've actually been on the podcast a couple of times before. And yeah, used to do YouTube in a network as well. Did a lot of videos on that. Done some Let's Plays on my own channel. Had a video editing tutorial channel and a vlog channel as well that I worked on for quite some time. Don't do any of that anymore. I used to stream a lot as well, every day, way back in the day. But don't do that no more either. Now it's just all about the rant nerds.
Basically, Zabermoul was the professional amongst all of us. All of the rant nerds.
Not really.
Good. Well, it's great to have you on board, Zaber. It's nice
Thanks for having me.
Nice, you're welcome. You're welcome. So, we might as well get straight into it. So, what have you been up to, Zaber?
Well, since when? Since the 24-hour?
Well, yes.
So
yeah, we did have. Right. We believe or not, believe or not, we planned this before we started.
Yes. But yeah, you know how it is. We plan, and nothing goes according to plan. But but no, we did the 24-hour stream.
We did.
Which was insanely fun. It wasn't the same as when we had the first 24-hour I joined, where we were all at the same house together.
Yeah.
But it was still very, very fun, and we had the audience come in and play with us. You and me, we played through the Portal 2.
Mm-hmm. The co-op.
And
which
yeah,
is
the
a shocking thing. Zaber admitted on stream he'd never played Portal 2.
Never.
Which, as a PC gamer, is basically, it's basically blasphemy.
Well, so I heard. So immediately everyone was like, "Seriously, you've never played that before?" I saw videos, like not all like long videos. I just saw like segments. I was like, "Nah, this ain't for me. This ain't for me." But eventually, Ram, he was like, you and me, we do this on the 24-hour." I was like, "Okay, let's do it then." I enjoyed it so much. I eventually sat down and played through the entire campaign. It's so good. I can't believe I can't believe I just dismissed that game completely. It was really, really fun. And that's all the way down to the way the puzzles were made, all the small systems about getting launched through the maps and having to do things while being in the air and all that. It was so much fun. The humor, the voice acting from the robots. Oh my god, it was so well made. So well made. I really enjoyed that game. So if there by any chance is someone like me out there that hasn't tried it, try the game out.
Yeah,
it's fun.
It's a beautifully polished game. It's clear that a lot of time and effort went into it to make it out. But it doesn't miss a beat the whole way through. It's every sort of like section is just the right length. Before it does it.
I will say though, like the part of the game where you're like outside of the testing areas, that became a little tedious. I think that could have been a little shorter, but
you talk about the bit where you get access to like the special gels and stuff, and you're like sort of down the depths of Aperture Science.
where you're not being tested per se, like where you're trying to find your way back or find your way to the surface.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a great game. That's that's one of the beauties about doing this with you guys, doing the Rant Nerds, because there's so many games that I would have dismissed, that I would have never tried had it not been for Rant Nerds, because we all have different tastes in games.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, well, now you've picked a game that we try, and then someone else pick a game, and it was like, I would have never picked this, but I got to try it, and it's been really, really good, and it's been really fun.
Yeah. No, it's probably, so I'd say, one of the pinnacle games. If you had to, I don't go for like it's the best example of anything. I don't think there is the best, because lots of things can compete for that title, and none of them is like one above the other. But it's definitely in the sort of top tier of gaming experiences. I love how it's split into very distinct acts. You've got a little prequel where you meet Wheatley, who's voiced by Stephen Merchant, who is the person who I don't know if you've ever watched the British version of The Office or like Ricky Gervais's stuff.
Oh, I know who he is. He has a very distinct voice. You know exactly who he is when you hear his voice.
Yeah, and so the fact they managed to get him on board was this is not something you expect to see in a game. Got random.
He had a short role as a butler a couple of times in Modern Family, the series.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he did. So he's a butler, and he's immensely fun.
But also, he sort of like starts the game off. He wakes you up, and he sort of like says, "Hey, I need your help." And eventually, you meet up with GLaDOS, who is like one of the best antagonists in a game ever. Beautifully voiced.
Yeah. He does a good job too. I
he does.
Admit,
there are lots of little details in that game. Later on, the humour later on. There's one bit at the end where he encouraged you to commit suicide. He says, if you just get on, jump in there, you'll be fine. If you do that, the game ends with you looking, and he goes, "Oh, I can't believe that worked." And he just goes off screen.
Oh, I never tried.
There's lots of little bits in there like that. But I like the fact that it's all the arc. It's like it's just sort of his initial thing. Then, GLaDOS getting back in control, and then you sort of usurping her, and then you get into the background details of Aperture Science, where basically all the underground bit is you exploring the history and the background of the sort of place and learning how it happened, and then obviously getting back up and escaping. And ends on a song, and every good game should end on a song.
That was actually funny too.
Yeah. So what are you playing in? I've answered my own question. I was going to ask you if you played it in English, or if there was was a dubbed version you played, but obviously sounds like you played.
There's rarely dubbed games. Like nothing gets dubbed in Danish, to be honest. It's I think that's one of the cool things about Denmark compared to like say Germany. Everything gets dubbed in Germany, and nothing gets dubbed here. Like everything in TV or in the cinemas or anything like that, everything is in English.
Oh really?
It's a good thing. It's very good, because I think that's primarily why we also become better at English in Denmark. Or there's other countries that do the same, of course. But
yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's cool. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
How about the humour? Did the humour translate? Did the humour sort of translate well? Was there anything you felt like you didn't make sense, or?
No. I think we have because I think that we have kind of like the same humor here in Denmark. Yeah. So I think it translated very well.
Cool.
There was nothing like I was like, I didn't understand that.
Oh no, I just some of the lines in that is just so hilarious. I think my favourite is, "Look at you flying gracefully through the air like an eagle piloting a blimp." If you go on YouTube and look up like the best GLaDOS lines or the best Wheatley lines, they'll put like video compilations that they're like an hour long. It's just constant. It's just it doesn't miss a beat. The writing is spot on every step of the way. It got a bit of controversy later on, 3 years afterwards, because the jokes made about adoption, some people felt was a bit sort of like mean, but I think that's a bit of a Storm Seeker, because it's not. GLaDOS is not a nice person.
But seriously though, like, see that I think that's I'm not gonna get into a rant here, but I think that's kind of like what the world has come to. Like, oh my god, we're gonna find this thing and we're gonna whine about it. It's make believe. Come on, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. And the thing is, Glasshouse isn't a good person. She's the bad guy at that stage. So her saying nasty things is kind of on spec for her. You know? So it all makes sense in that regards.
Yeah.
So no, it is a fab game. Because obviously, as you say, we played the co-op experience, which is very different. Because one of the things they said when developing it, they found that anything to do with timing or like precision didn't work very well in single player. People did find it frustrating, but in co-op, people loved it. So co-op
Yeah.
tends to do a lot more timing precision stuff in the co-op mode.
I can kind of see that. And I to some extent feel like the co-op mode is better, but you get the story in the campaign, which is well worth it. Um, and also we didn't get to finish it. We should probably do that at some
We
point.
should, we should.
The co-op.
We're very close to finishing. I think we had like one chamber left to go. We were very close. You know, one like segment to go. We got very close, but yeah, we didn't quite finish. But yeah, so we do need to finish it off at some point.
But at the end though, on that stream, that was at the end of the 24-hour we played that. Yeah.
Let's play a puzzle game.
My brain went to mush. At one point, I just heard you raising your voice, Saber, Saber, it's this. Like I didn't get a clue.
Like, for fuck's sake, Zaber, just put your fucking portal
Yeah.
fucking there.
Yeah.
That's all you
Yeah.
need to do.
And the worst part was I didn't get the whole blue orange thing. I didn't get
No,
that before. I actually started playing the single player. I was like, oh, they have different colors, and it's shown on the screen.
Yeah.
Like when you're aiming.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The amount of times you like Zaber, yeah, but you press for that portal, press the other one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like it baffles me we even got that far.
Weird. Well, yeah, it was. You got the hang of it. It's just a as you say, that time in the morning. Because see, the advantage I had was at that point I'd gone and had a little sleep for an hour and a half, couple of hours. So I was refreshed, whereas you'd had yours before mine. So you've been playing Hunt Showdown, which in itself isn't exactly, although not puzzle game, is mentally tiring game in itself. And then I come and say, hey, let's play a puzzle game.
I think that was at the time it was the absolute correct choice to go for Hunt Showdown because I had sleep.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It just made sense having something where you need to really concentrate. Because otherwise I could have easily fallen asleep again. Doing the 24-hour, it's not a joke. Like it's
No.
it's hard.
Yeah. Shout out to Skaz though, who powered through the whole thing.
He's a beast. Every freaking time he just powers through. I do love the fact that he got the chance though to just sit back and relax a little bit toward the end when we play Portal 2.
Yes, that was nice. It was,
that's not usual for him to be able to do that.
No, normally he's boom all the way through. He's done a couple just by himself. Well, he's done about 3, I think, just by himself.
Yeah,
and
he's a beast.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely. I think I'd have so much eye strain and my commentary at the end would be like just go left.
Mush.
Yeah. Shit. Yeah. Yeah. Brain. Oh shit. Die. Yeah. But no. So shout out to him for coming on through. But no, it was nice to be back in the saddle for the Trade File live stream because I'd missed a couple because basically it had fallen bad for work purposes. Yeah. So it was nice to be back on it and doing it again.
Yeah, and well, same for me because doing the first one when I was visiting Skaz, when we were all hanging out, doing it was very fun. And I said the other years as well, like we could have done like we did this year. I think we should keep doing it that way if we can't plan it so we are together at one location. I think this is the way to do it.
It worked well.
And the fact that we had so many of the usual viewers of Scarce's stream, and also I think a lot of them also join this stuff as well.
Yeah, I know a
especially when
couple
it's
that watch.
about
Yeah.
the gaming. Yeah. That they came in and joined and participated and played games with us, especially the Gang Beast stuff.
Oh, that was
Um,
hilarious.
that was really fun.
That
That
was
was a
so
really good
fun.
game.
Yeah, watching
Yeah.
people get thrown to choppers and stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, not a game to play without a controller though.
Huh?
Not a game to play without a controller. I was playing
No.
I was playing mouse and keyboard, and that was very hard.
Dude, I would have just I would have taken my break then.
Yeah, yeah.
Rather than just play-
That's my excuse for why I lost nearly every match or like died very early matches. I was using mouse and keyboard. Nothing to do with my skill level whatsoever. It's purely because I was using mouse and keyboard. Nothing to do with me whatsoever.
Every time I died, it was because my
You had that,
pad
you had that,
sorted
yeah.
it out. Yeah,
You had that
yeah.
awful lag issue, didn't you? That awful ping issue
I did,
happened every single time, didn't it?
All you guys were in the UK. I was in Denmark. I had the worst ping out of everyone.
Right,
So
right,
that's why-
right,
that's why I messed
yeah,
up.
yeah. Of course, you with your fancy, full fibre internet connection that we all pray for. Oh, actually, I can get now.
I don't have fiber no more, dude.
No, what do you want at the moment?
No, when we were on cable.
And what's that giving you?
Huh?
All the UK people are going to be very frustrated in a second. What speed are you getting there, Zaber?
I know. See, I know. I'm gonna. We had this talk before. So I know when I say the speeds, and I then emphasize that that's bad in Denmark. That those speeds
Yeah,
are
right.
not good. That you guys are gonna be like,
Yeah,
that's usually the good speeds in our country.
yeah.
I think we just got upgraded, and I think we're sitting at 300 meg down.
And that's the bad
50
speed.
and 50 meg up.
That's the bad
Only
speed.
50 meg up.
Only
Yeah,
50. Only 50.
When I lived at the house, I had 500 meg down, 500 meg up.
Yeah. I say across the UK, people are like, "What the fuck?" Most people are like,
Yeah.
most people are like pushing 80. If they're good, they've got good connections, like pushing 80.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
although I
it's,
said that, we have now most places in our area have now had full fibre installed, and I'm going to hopefully very shortly be getting full fibre. And when I get that, I've been told that I should be getting 900 down and 450 up.
the joys of fiber, dude. The
Yeah,
joys of
the
fiber.
fibre, yeah. At long last, we've caught up the Danish. It took us several years, but we've got there.
See, but we haven't completely. Like, it's not everywhere that we have the fiber option, because here we don't have like the fiber option.
No.
We only and
But your cable
We
stores a
don't
lot faster than most people get. Most people are stuck with like broadband speeds.
well, okay. Let me put it this way: there's so much fiber in Denmark and so much cable in Denmark that they've started like you can't get internet through a phone line. It's almost impossible to get it in Denmark.
They're actually getting we're actually getting rid of our landlines in 2025. Landlines will be gone.
Okay.
It'll all be VoIP.
Yeah.
So that long lasts.
I know nothing about what happens in Denmark in that regard.
I think very much a generational thing. I can't imagine many. I certainly haven't got a landline. I have a mobile phone. Why would I need a landline for? And I can't imagine a lot of people these days have landlines anymore, because what do you need them for? If you have a mobile
I think
phone.
a lot of companies in Denmark still have it, which is kind of dumb.
But even those, a lot of those go through like digital switches and stuff rather than actually through a phone line in the wall.
Yeah.
But cool. Oh well, we can all be jealous of Zaber's interconnection later.
No, just be jealous about it right now.
Right.
Throughout the rest of this episode, be jealous.
Right. So moving on from 24 hours. So I've been playing. I quite like, because also we've obviously discussed lots of multiplayer games and stuff in the past. We don't tend to discuss a lot of single player games because we tend to game together, so multiplayer. So it's all single players. And I am quite a fan of, and regular listeners will know this, I'm quite a fan of like survival horror games. Particularly
Survival horror.
Particularly the ones that are like very much like you basically. So for my favorite game series, have you heard of the Amnesia game series?
Yes.
Yeah, they're one of my favorite survival horrors. You basically can't fight back. All you can do is hide and run.
Yeah, we
That's
played one of them on the game, no, on the 24-hour stream. The first one I joined.
yes, I think was
Yeah.
was that when you had we played Amnesia Machine for Pigs
Yes,
on the first
exactly.
one. Yeah, they also made another one called if sort of like old style horror isn't your thing. They made another one called Soma, which is sort of futuristic
All right.
science fiction. It is utterly fantastic. If you
I've
don't
actually seen that one. I've seen that one.
honestly, if you don't mind the sort of like sneaking around, sort of running and hiding type style of play Soma. Soma is amazing. It is one of my favourite games of all time. The storyline in it is amazing. The sort of characterization is the atmosphere is incredible. So if you like that sort of game, I would honestly pick it up.
Grabbing my phone right now. I'm making a note.
Yeah, but
Jeez.
yeah.
Soma.
Yeah, it's quite. You can pick up quite cheap now. It's fair because it's quite an old game. You can pick up fairly cheap now. But yeah, it's a story heavy game, but beautifully heavy. It's all about sort of exploration, like this underwater base. It's amazing game, and does sort of it's also very it's basically based on a very deep philosophy about sort of who are we and what we are. But I won't spoil it. I won't spoil it because it is really, really, really
Meaning
good.
of life type shit, huh?
Yeah, actually, it is down. It is. It does. It sort of skirts around that sort of subject matter. It certainly does.
All right.
Yeah. No, honestly, and what's great about Soma as well, they did a whole series of like live action videos. Like in preparation, they released these live action like shorts, YouTube shorts, in preparation for it, like which were like sort of set in this base and so forth. Like sort of proper actors and stuff, which were really well done. And they also then actually made a short like prequel sort of a movie. It's basically like sort of 8 or 9 like mini sort of like 5 minute long, 6 minute long episodes that's all roughly stringed together in a rough plot line. So it's sort of like a movie, like prequel type movie. Really neatly done. It is a fantastic game. But yeah, if you like sort of stealth, if you don't mind stealth games, Soma's fantastic.
Not much of a stealth guy, but I can do it. It's not that, but you know, well, you've seen in game night so many times.
Yeah,
stealth not my thing, but
you have to. It's because you are basically all the creatures and monsters you face can hurt you, but you can't hurt them. So you have to avoid them or sneak around them or like use the way they do. But what's neat about Soma? I'll if I'm not careful, I'll get stuck talking about Soma. I promise not to do this, but. What's neat is that every sort of like section, the monster you face is different to all the previous ones. So like every section, you get a different monster completely. So it's not like you encounter the same enemies multiple times throughout the whole game. You get all different ones every single time. It is, beautiful. But I like this sort of survival games. I also like quite unfair sort of survival games. Things called Green Hell, where the game is fairly unfair. Once you get sort of hand on it, it's not so bad, but anything can kill you really quickly. If you're not careful, you still be a little bit cautious. You can sort of like get yourself some gear up and stuff, but even when you got full geared up, you can still be laid low very quickly if you're not paying attention to what you're doing. Right. I like those sort of games. I just like feeling of sort of stress put on you. It's a nice sort of stress. So I picked up this. I actually had it in my library already, and I saw a couple talking about it on Reddit. And it's a game called Darkwood, and it's a top-down. Sort of a 2D game. It's a whole game, and it's set. Well, there's not a lot of backstory in the first bit. All I know is that it's set in the air quotes the Darkwood, and you are some guy surviving. All it basically says is that at some point, the wood sort of like. Almost all like well, obviously the wood is alive, but this like forest all came alive. Basically, started taking back over everything. So basically, the trees are like sort of like gradually growing really quickly and sort of advancing on like and taking over buildings and roads and destroying them, and any sort of like thing caught in between gets like sort of picked up and held and sort of gradually sort of dissolved away and into the trees. It's sort of quite creepy thing, and the game is set basically you trying to escape you're trying to escape the Darkwood. And there's a prequel source section of the game, which is like the tutorial, where you play a doctor who is basically sort of going about his day-to-day sort of life in the Darkwood. He's in a building, he's got a generator power. Basically, the game is that during the day, you're safe, but at night, it gets very dangerous. A bit like 7 Days to Die. But at night, it is fatal to be outside. The creatures that attack you are so quick. You have to be in cover. You have to be protected. You can like go into buildings. You can barricade up buildings, barricade up doors, barricade up windows. Everything to try and put set traps to try and catch things that are coming in and stuff to try and protect yourself from them. Because it is just basically lethal being outside at night. The game is deliberately sort of like, when I say it's sort of like, it starts off where you have absolutely nothing. So at the start of the game, you don't even know what time of day it is. You basically rely on the fact that to make it work, what your character has like a vision cone in front of them. So imagine like a 45-degree arc that sits in front of them. So you have like a 360-degree sort of like view around you, which is sort of lit up, and then you've got this arc in front of you. And only what's in the arc can you see. You sort of see the background and stuff, but you can't see like people moving around, objects, unless they're in that vision cone of yours. Yeah. And what the game does to sort of give you an idea of what time it is that colour of that vision cone will change over the course of the day. So at the early hours of the morning, it's all quite bright, so grass is really green. Then as it sort of gets later on, it will get more muted and more like sort of like goldeny colour, like when the sun goes down, you get this sort of like goldeny colour. In real life, it sort of does that. That's sort of your clue of like, okay, night's coming soon. And then when night does come down, your vision cone gradually recedes back, so you see less and less, to the point where basically you can literally see like just in front of you, and you're pitch black and dark. And at that point, if you're not inside a building, you're dead. You know, you've just got to run and hope you get inside, because what can chase you down very quickly, and it will kill you very quickly as well. And even if you're in building, there are things that will try and break in. Your safe areas have like these sort of like gas emitters that sort of produce a gas that supposedly protects you from whatever's outside, but something can still break through doors and stuff and come at you. So it starts off
That's
like
an interesting mechanic, actually.
It is an interesting mechanic. It's a nice twist on the things I've seen in the past. I love games where the night is dangerous. You know, you should be like sort of like hunkering down. So like, have you ever played Stalker? Have you heard of Stalker?
Yeah, I've heard about it, but I've never played, I think.
Okay, Stalker, the original Stalker. That's not very good. They're all good.
That was a first-person shooter, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
View. Yeah.
Yeah, and at night, it's pitch black. Outside is pitch black. You can have a head torch. If you have a head torch on, you're basically lighting up to everything. And there are creatures that roam the night and will hunt down and stuff and come after you. And they're very hard to find in the dark. So your best bet at night in Stalker is to hold up somewhere, unless you're really well equipped and stuff. Your best bet is to find a campfire somewhere, hold up there, and just wait it out. Go out the next day. This game's sort of along those sort of lines. Your best bet is you have to wait it out. But it's all like this. It creates a bit of tension because how the game works, you have like sort of the day phase, and the night phase will come, and gradually it gets darker and darker, and things can attack you. Then eventually, like a timer runs out. And the game will then white out, and they'll say, right, the next day. And off you go for the next day, and the sort of round starts. I think daytime is about 10 minutes long, and night's about 3 minutes long, sort of time-wise. To give you an idea of sort of how long it takes. But you basically, other than that, it's your normal sort of survival craft. You have to find stuff, you have to craft things, build things. You'll find wood and nails, like plank up your building with. You're basically you're more scavenging stuff because it's just a broken world. You'll find old buildings and stuff. You start with absolutely no way to defend yourself. You can't even punch or kick. You have to make a weapon, which can be something simple as a board with some nails in it. You can also do it's got crafting and stuff. You only have like your literal inventory is really tiny. It's like 10 things you can have. Some things stack, but it's very tiny. Your hotbar can only have 3 things on it to start with. You can upgrade that as well, and upgrade your inventory as well at the same time. There's like a workbench. It's on paper, it's basically everything that I should love. Yeah. But I must admit, I found a hard time engaging with it. I've actually found out. So I know I've been seeing its praise a bit, but I've actually struggled to get into it.
Is it
Um,
the immersion
I really
or what
don't
is it?
know. It's like it just hasn't grabbed. It hasn't like grabbed me. Everything about it ticks all the boxes of things I like.
Yeah, on
Everything else,
paper, it should be the perfect game. Yeah.
yeah, it should be. When I was reading, I thought this sounds perfect. This sounds exactly what I want to play. The atmosphere is good. I think the trouble is I've discovered that maybe it's just me become more of a coward, but when games don't have like not much of an objective, I'm
Hmm.
like, well, why would I ever go anywhere? I'm quite happy in this building. I'm safe
Yeah.
here. Why would I want to go anywhere? That's silly, Manny. So I
Yeah.
kind of need something to work towards. And after a couple of nights, you do get like an objective to work towards and go forth. And now I've sort of pushed myself to play it more. The first time I sat down and played it, which was on Saturday, I thought I'd like a whole afternoon evening. Thought I could put hours into this. I
Yeah.
played about 15 minutes and just like quit out. I just like it just didn't
That's not
grab.
good.
No, so I thought so. See, afternoon. I thought I'm gonna give it another go. So I've put about another sort of 2-3 hours into it. I'm now sort of starting to get sort of to grips with what I want to do. It's now sort of starting to sort of work its way into me. So, but it's definitely a game I feel like I have to push myself to play. Once I get to a certain critical point, I'll actually be hooked onto it.
Hmm.
Now I'm sort of like unlocking. I've now sort of, obviously the game doesn't really tell you how to do anything. It gives you really basic instructions, but doesn't tell you like how to find things, how to get things. It's up to you to work it out for yourself. And it says at the start, it says like, look, this game won't hold your hand. You've got to figure this all out for yourself. But I feel
Yeah.
that some things it could teach you what to do. There's some things like
Yeah.
its basic mechanics it could teach you what to do. Um, I'm not the combat system. I'm not a great fan of because you have to basically before you can strike, you have to aim. I know it sounds silly that of course you have to aim before you strike, but when you're swinging like a melee weapon, you have
Hmm.
to basically hold down aim button, sort of like wind up your attack, and then you can push one to swing and attack. So you can't sort of
Okay.
like thing, which feels a bit weird for certain things.
Yeah.
I can say if you like using guns and stuff, it makes sense, but for melee weapons, feels a bit strange. I I'm still starting to get into it, but I can feel it's one of those games that I felt if I stopped now and never went back to, I would not be feel I would have feel no desire to go back to. If you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's there's these games out there that when you sit down, even though it's not the perfect game on paper, it ends up being absolutely amazing.
Hmm.
And then there are these games out there that, hey, I love these type of games, and it checks all the boxes, and then there's something wrong with the immersion, or
Yeah,
like you said, there's no goal to the game,
yeah,
or no objectives or whatever,
yeah,
so you kind of get stuck.
yeah. I mean,
Um,
there is an objective, but there's little to start with. So your objective is after prequel, you play as this doctor in the prequel, and he finds somebody who
mm,
he finds, and he realizes this person might have a way out of the area where he wants to escape. So he kidnaps him and basically sort of tortures him and so forth to get the information out and steals the key to get out. The
yeah,
game, proper game, you play as the person he found after you escape. And your goal is to basically find this, not to find a key. But there's nothing. You literally start. I'm in a house. Okay, well,
hmm,
what do I do? I'll wander out here, just wander around a bit, and just look for something. And there's nothing sort of. You're just wandering around thinking, well, am I just wasting time doing this, or am I actually sort of
yeah,
like, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know where I'm going, and just something to sort of point you in the directions what's needed. It is. Yeah, I mean, people seem to love it. It seems to get lots of people seem to love this game.
yeah,
I don't feel unfair to say it's. I don't feel like it's to say it's. I won't say it's a bad game. In any sort of ways, I don't want to say it's like terrible like that. It's just it's not gripped me. It's maybe if I push myself to play a bit more, it might sort of like where it's out. I might sort of like get into it. Because I'm interested in the storyline. The storyline, the idea, I think is interesting. I want to know more
hmm,
about it because like you are finding all these mutant creatures, and I want to find more about what's going on, but I just haven't quite gripped into it. But it's a neat concept anyway. I'll say that much about it.
that's the thing about games as well. Like, even if it's not necessarily the best game for you, you know, it's also a matter of taste and perception and
Hmm.
blah blah blah. So other people might enjoy it a hell of a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
It's
a lot. Yeah, I think there's a lot of people who forget that a game I don't like doesn't make a game bad.
no.
Or actually, anything. I
Exactly.
don't like this film doesn't make the film bad. I don't like this TV series or this book or this music doesn't make the music bad or the film or the TV whatever. Just because you don't like it, there are things that are bad that are objectively bad design, if like fans of the genre don't like and so forth. But there are lots of things that I mean, I have no interest in playing football games, like Football Manager and so forth. But people lap those up and love them. I have zero interest. I tried playing a Football Manager game once. It didn't go well, and I feel I basically told my team they're a bunch of idiots, and and I you could do it. I think I basically had to do like a mid-match sort of like briefing. And I basically said, "You're a bunch of idiots. Get out there and destroy him. Do what?"
Just imagine that.
Yeah.
Oh, you bunch of bellends.
That's basically it. That was my experience with Foot Manager, was just telling my players they're a bunch of idiots. Because obviously you've got all these players that I don't know who they are. This is a list of names. It's like, but I thought, I know nothing about. I know literally nothing about football. I know a few names. I know a few teams. I know roughly the rules. But other than that, I know basically nothing. So playing Football Manager, when you sort of expected to know these things before you start, was an interesting experience. Because I thought to myself, well, at the end of the day, it's about making numbers go up. And I like making numbers go up in games. So I'm just going to make numbers go up. And it's basically a spreadsheet. I think I could figure this out. But no, I couldn't figure it out. And I got so frustrated. I think my team played one match. So I didn't realize the match was real. I went to play the match, and I assumed you play the match, you'd like speed through and accelerate it. But no, it just played the entire match. It's like, what the fuck? It's actually going to play it? So I sort of left it running, went and had some tea, and came back. I shouted at my team. They went away again, came back, and it's like, oh, right, yeah. But yeah, that was the best bit. I think you could shout at your team. That was the best bit about the whole game.
Oh, there could be something therapeutic about that game then. Getting aggressions out.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know what any of these numbers mean. I'll just hire that person. I'm sure he's good. He's got high numbers. He must be good. Yeah. But no, so Dark.
Talk about. Huh?
Sorry, go on. No, you go on.
No.
You go on.
No, it's just about because you're not done with the game, so just continue because I was about to take it somewhere else.
Oh, okay. I'll just say Darkwood might be a good game if you like. If you get a little hump in the start of it. So I'm not prepared to write it off yet. I might see how play it some more and see if I get into it. But yeah. So that's all my review of Darkwood. But I'll put a link in the show notes. People can have a look at it, see what they think.
Yeah.
So, all right, over to you.
I was about to say about when it comes to things not necessarily being like when we say something is bad and it's not necessarily bad for everyone, there are certain aspects where it is. Like there's been a lot of games out there that has been made into movies, and a lot of those tend to like go bad, like really bad.
Yeah.
I'm about to find out on Tuesday. Yeah, on Tuesday. So Victoria, my daughter, was home, and she's just been home this weekend here, and she was like, "Dad, on Thursday, Five Night at Freddy's, the movie, it premieres."
Yes. It does, doesn't it?
And she loves that. She's been so hyped about that. She was like, "Dad, can we go watch it? Can we, please? I want to go watch it with you." So I just ordered tickets today for Tuesday. So Tuesday night, me and my daughter, we're gonna go watch Five Night at Freddy's. And to be honest, because there's been so many, and here's the thing. Here's what might actually happen, because I have so low expectations for this movie that I'm probably gonna end up going out of there, be like, "This is the best movie ever."
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. But she's very hyped about this thing.
Yeah.
And, she wants to go. Let's go then.
For what I've seen of the people who have actually, because it's been released some places already. It's been some people had seen the previews and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
if you are, from what I say, if you are a fan of the game, you'll probably like the film. But it's definitely aimed very much squarely at that sort of. How old is Victoria?
She's 16.
It's very much aimed at her age range. It's not aimed at me or you.
Yeah.
It's very much
She
aimed.
she showed me a video of a bunch of YouTubers that went to visit the studio where it was all made and all filmed and everything. They actually made like the Freddy and the other things.
They're
I
made
don't
by
know their names. Yeah,
made by Jim
made
Henderson.
Robots. There was robots, dude.
They're made by Jim Henderson Company.
They are?
Yeah, they made the Jim Henderson have like a division now who got involved in making those animatronics.
Yeah.
Which obviously
That's cool though.
That's their thing.
Yeah. But it's really cool. They made robots like
yeah.
It's really
cool. I've seen like the trailers from the trailers and stuff for it, and from what I can see, the animatronics are very accurate to the game. Mm-hmm. I've never played a Five Nights at Freddy game. I remember them coming out.
Neither.
I remember them coming out, and I remember them being all the rage. Everybody was like, they were like incredibly popular, and the guy made it like in a few months because it's literally just like sort of mostly screenshots rather than actual movement per se. There's only a few bits of animation in the whole game.
Yeah.
And then obviously he spawned like, I think it's been like 7 Five Nights at Freddy games, I think. And I saw missed the boat. I missed the boat on Five Nights at Freddy. I think by the time it was like, so I might give it a go, I sort of missed it. And so I never got into it. Also, I'm not a fan of jump scares. I think jump scares are cheap horror. Because anything can, and anything. I mean, like I could be sat here, and if a picture fell off the wall, I'd jump. That's not scary. That's annoying. So jump scares, I'm much more for psychological horror, or like sort of tangible horror. Jump scares always just felt cheap to me, which is why I was like, probably not be interested in the game for that reason, because I saw what it relies on a lot, from what I understand. But I saw like, well, should I give it a go? I've always thought to basically give it a go. But yeah, having seen like the game and videos of the game, and then seeing the film, the characters look they're recognisable. I recognise. Oh, I know instantly which character. I know some of the characters' name. I think there's Freddy. There's one called Foxy. One called Chica. Probably. I think there is. I think yeah.
I know nothing about I know that there are games, and I know that they were horror games and whatnot. I know nothing. I know that the latest one they made, the latest game, you could get that as a VR game as well.
Oh really? Fucking hell!
Yes, because I think my nephew played that game in VR. But yeah, it's so. But other than that, I know nothing about know nothing about the character names other than Freddy, and that's that.
Yeah.
My daughter keeps talking about something called a spring lock failure or something like. I don't know what the hell it is. But apparently there's something something really cool, and it's in the movie apparently. From what she's heard.
I've read what I sometimes will do if it's games like I have actually read the backstory to it. I've actually went on the wiki and I've read the backstory of what happens to so forth. So I sort of know the backstory roughly. I don't know. I'm not a law expert by any means, but I know the backstory of what happens. I believe the film is loosely based on the backstory. I don't think it's like a direct copy of the game. I think it's sort of like they've took the sort of basic concept and sort of like changed it up for the film. So, but I'll be interested to see on our next podcast what you think of the film.
Yes.
Something to discuss.
See, that's the thing though. Like, I used to game a hell of a lot back in the day. Not so much anymore. That's where this whole renders thing is good, because I get to play games and have fun. But there's so much going on in my life, and there's so much other shit that I want to do as well. Play music and then there's films and TV shows and all kinds of other stuff that I watch. So yeah.
That's sort of what Randos does make me go, shit, I need to play a game. I better go quickly play one. Go on Steam, go on How Long to Beat, sort by shortest game times. Oh, that's a 3-hour game. I can do that in an afternoon. Off we go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, now we got to play For the King.
Well, yes, exactly. So
because we talked about that a lot over the game nights. That me and Skaz talked about wanting to bring you in to For the King.
It was on our list.
It was on the list, yeah. Sadly enough, we never got to do it, all three of us. But we've done a couple of game nights, yeah.
Yes, we have
with For the King.
Yeah.
What do you think of it so far?
I'm really enjoying it. I mean, perhaps we should so it's a sort of like turn-based, almost board game-esque style game. You take each person takes it in turns to move around this hex board, and the backstory is something about some evil coming over the the usual fancy backstory. Something evil's happening. You've got to go defeat it. Off you go. We want you to go defeat this massive evil. Here's a rusty pickaxe. Good luck. Sort out on the way past. We could give you an army, but we're not going to. Here's a dodgy, cheap bargain basement bow and no armor. Off you go.
Yeah.
And it's all about sort of like killing mobs, exploring sort of caves, leveling up, getting better gear. But I've enjoyed it. Our first match ended in a yes. We might bit off a bit more. We could chew in our first match.
Nah.
Yeah. Would like to tell the lovely ladies what happened, Zaber, in our first match?
So I remember Ram, he was like, here's a dungeon. Let's enter that one.
Oh, really? Yeah.
No. Oh, it was me. Oh, okay. So there was a dungeon, and I was like, hey, let's, Ram, we'll do this one.
We were level 2 at the time. I'll point out.
Yeah, and I think we found out afterwards that dungeon was level 5.
It was 4 or 5, yeah.
Eventually, we got to a boss fight where we couldn't deal damage to him because we were too low level. He wasn't having it.
If I got a perfect hit, I did 1 point of damage, and he had like 60 health. And every time he hit us, he took like 30. He took like half our health away every time he hit us.
Toward the end of that fight, every other turn you had to spend on reviving me.
Yeah, and vice versa. Yeah. It was an interesting sort of end to the game. But you
didn't die a lot. You didn't die as much as I did because you had a lot more evasion. So you were dodging a lot of his attacks. Really cool since you were lower level. But yeah, it's a brutal game though. Like you get punished for not thinking about what you're doing, and I like that. Like it's not one of those games that hold your hand and be like, we're gonna give you everything.
Yeah.
It's I think it's a really, really awesome game. The second one's coming out in, I think, 2 weeks or something like that, or next week. On Thursday. On Thursday, it's coming out next week.
Oh, yeah.
On the 2nd of November, you can actually pre-purchase it right now on Steam.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I like it. I mean, it's a very. It's obviously like it looks like a small team. It's also a small team developed game. There isn't a great deal of like character customization. You basically can pick whether you wear a hat or not. And you can change like a couple of colours from like a small palette of colours. It's not a huge amount of character customization, and the leveling up it's automatic. You don't really choose what you do, or
you don't get talent points or anything where you can upgrade this and that, other than what you get from your gear. Yeah,
gear is your only way of basically controlling what you do. Your gear is your only sort of upgrade. I like the skill system, which is based on all your characters have a sort of like a set of skill. They have like a percentage chance to do it. So if your skill is, say, mine, for example, my character's got a high perception of 81. So any skill check that requires a high perception, they've got like an 81% chance of doing it. But tied to that is like a dice roll with you have like a number of slots, and they vary. Some you only have like 2, some you have 1, some you have like 5, and you basically have to roll for each of the slots. And if you get more slots you get, the better the result you're going to get. So it becomes more.
That's where you can spend the focus and whatnot. The focus system comes to play there.
Yeah, the focus basically guarantees you a slot. You're going to do it. You're going to pass it. It's a neat system. I like the focus system. It's a neat little system because it makes sort of like it's a tactical decision, but it's not like a super hard tactical decision. It's like, should I do it or shouldn't I? I can afford to spend one here and so forth. You're not going to be totally screwed over if you ignore it or do stuff. It's also nice that you can have things where what I like is that when you come like in a dungeon, if you come across stuff, you can just choose to pass it to another player. If they're like, "Oh, you're better at this," yeah, you take it.
Because like each class that you can pick from has certain stats that are, well, is that called elevated compared to other classes?
Yeah.
And that's based around the class, and then some choices you make throughout the game, if you have a higher luck chance or whatever it would be, or luck stat, you would then fare better in that choice. So passing it on to the other player, which has the higher stat in that, let's say in luck, you would then be able to do better.
Yeah, it's like talent. Yeah, if like there's one that's like talent and stuff, and all the weapons as well are based on one of your stats. So for me, my character says it's perception. So any weapon that uses perception as its stat, and I'll automatically do a lot more damage with. I'll do a lot more. I'll bear a chance to hit. Your character is a strength character. So anything that involves hitting, and you very quickly, if you saw like. Now we sort of know, well, you obviously played it before, so you sort of know what you're doing, but now I sort of know what I'm doing. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to make sure I pick this weapon stuff. You suddenly, the sort of steamroll happens quite nicely. My favourite bit of our one last night was where we were fighting those, what were they? Were they like, I can't remember what creatures they were, but one of them scared you, and your character just fucked off and left me to it. That was hilarious.
Yeah, it was those big guys, wasn't it?
Yeah. And we both
like minotaurs or something like that. I think it was something. Yeah,
something like that. We both did damage. We both did a bit of damage each, and then we both smashed at this character. Then they scared you. Your character fucked off. It was like, shit, it's all down to me now, and I've got a weapon that has to be reloaded every turn. Fuck, still won, but I just felt that was hilarious. Just watching your character go, bye, I'm off.
That's actually one thing about the game I dislike a little bit. The fact that they can like, if a mob or whatever you call it fears you out of the fight, you don't get XP, you don't get anything, you don't get gold, you get nothing.
Yeah. One thing I've liked so much about so far is it doesn't appear to be a great deal, at least at this moment, doesn't appear to be a great deal of grinding so far.
No, well, XP grinding is the thing. Like, we kill a lot of mobs, at least on this run that we're on right now.
But we don't have to do a lot to get our level up and so forth. At least not so far. No. My dislike of a lot of RPG games is full-on XP grinding. I really dislike. That's why I've never really gelled like most MMOs, because there's a lot of grinding involved in an MMO, and that's why I've never really gelled them, because I just want to progress. I don't want to like be doing. Why do I need to do this thing 10 times in order to progress a bit when I could just do the next level and I'm there? It just feels like It feels like just it feels like artificial lengthening of a game.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping it doesn't go like that.
It doesn't seem like it. I mean, I've played it. Me and Scash, we went pretty far in it. And it didn't seem grindy at all.
No.
I mean, but there's more parts to the game that you're gonna experience. I'm not gonna talk about it now because I don't want to take away from your experience. But yeah, there's gonna be a few more things that we can do. So yeah.
Oh, cool. That's cool. Well, hopefully you'll be able to see some footage of that game coming out. I can't remember when our first, or like, we'll call it the trial game, our first one. I think that comes out not this week, but the week after next. I think that comes live. You'll be able to see that. And then our more proper game, you'll see coming out, just after that one, and you'll get to see how the game works, how the game plays, and see how it sort of works and stuff. So, and what's quite nice, because you can say, it's multiplayer, you can save the session and we can carry on. So we can basically keep working our way through the co-op campaign, which is really neat. I like that. That's really, really neat.
Yeah.
It
can be a long game. Like I've never tried beating it, but it also clearly states in the what's it called, like when you load up the games, like boom, don't expect to fare well in this game, blah blah blah, because it's hard, or at least if you make bad choices you get punished for it. Which I'm a big fan of. I love games like that.
Oh yeah.
What you said about MMOs as well, like, so I get where you're coming from with this whole you don't want to grind, but I will say one thing, because I played a lot of WoW and I played a lot of MMOs actually, that yes, some games are very grindy, some MMOs are very grindy, but when you then get to the end and you can do this and that, it is so much more rewarding because it's been a grind, or it's because it's been so. Yes, there is a thing as it's too grindy, but when you have to do XYZ amount of times of this dungeon to get a level, or work so and so hard to get it, without it being too frustrating, getting to the end is really rewarding.
I think the grinding's okay if it's a case of you're going online with your mates and you're all doing your own little thing, or perhaps working together or so forth, and you're grinding. And basically, it's something you're doing whilst you're just being social.
Yeah,
that thing is probably sort of makes it okay. But when I'll be honest with you, I don't find it's more rewarding because it's took me 3 times as long to get here. I don't personally find that very rewarding. I find that frustrating. Personally, any game that involves a huge amount of grinding, I basically sort of tend to bounce off after a while. I could put up a little bit. I could put up a little bit of grinding, but large amounts, I just sort of like lose interest in it, basically. Which happened to me as well. I did play well.
What was the game, Ram? We played a game. What was it called on game night? Viking type game where we had to grind a hell of a lot.
Valheim. Again, shout out to
that game. It's beautiful. It's fun when you're in the fights, but my God, the grinding in that game, that was too much.
Again, shout out to Skaz, who just put basically half his life into grinding the stuff we needed for that game.
Had it not been for Skaz, we would have never gone through it. We would still be playing this game to date.
Yeah. But again, it's choppy. It was the exponential growth of the gear. It's like, okay, to make this armor, you need 19 iron ingots. Okay, well, so you need 20 iron ingots. To make an iron ingot, you need 20 iron ore. And then once you've got 20 iron ingots, then to make the next level armor, you need now 20. 20 iron massive ingots, which are made of 20 small ingots, which are made of 20. So basically, it's an exponential growth. It's like, how many hundreds of ore do I need to make this stuff? This is just something that is sort of utter. That is literally just making things take time for the sake of making things take time. Because if you got rid of
ingots,
if you got rid of all that that game would only be a few hours long. But again, it's very much that one is obviously set up to be like, again, go along with your mates. You all work towards a project. Shall we let's build a village? Okay, let's all work together and go and sort of pick up resources and build it. That's what it's sort of aiming towards. But gear grind and stuff. And the trouble was that game was something you had to have the gear. You just couldn't do it without it. Exactly. I was very pleased to uninstall Valheim from my system.
Oh yeah, same. Never touching it again ever. Like never. Ever touching it. Even if they make an update to the game, making it like insanely less grindy, not
Yeah,
gonna touch it. I've had my
yeah,
fill of that game. Never gonna
yeah,
touch. It's a beautiful game. The fights were fun, but it's too much, too much.
yeah,
But again, we might say that some other people might enjoy that a hell of a lot, and
yeah, yeah. Like I say, I can see it. That's the sort of game that I would have happily played. Probably about probably about sort of 15, 20 years ago, when like I was at college, and all I did every evening was go online and play games with my friends. That's all I did in
yeah,
the evenings. That's the sort of game that we would have played because we just play it for like 4 or 5 hours every night. And like I say, you're not really paying much attention to the game. You're just doing stuff and you're talking with people and you're chatting with people. And it's just a sort of social side of it. And the game's just something to do. It's been like a lot of these sort of like Korean MMO type games. Like I played one. It was called Repels. It was called,
all right.
and that takes grinding to like that's like Valheim level grinding to even higher standards.
Mhm.
It's basically there. I asked basically I asked a friend. I said, "Okay, mate." So he said, "Oh, it's got some story missions in it." So I said, "If it's got some good story missions, I'll play it." And he said, "Oh, yeah, you got story missions in it." So I'm playing. It's like, okay, well, this guy's asked me to go kill 10 of these things. I've killed those 10 things, and he's done with this. This guy's done 20, and this guy's telling me to do this, this. This guy's asked me to go from one place to B. I'm doing all that. I said to my friend, I said, at what point do these story missions stop? Because all I'm doing is killing things and go back to people or moving stuff from A to B. He goes, that really is the story in the game. It's like, really? That's it? And he goes, it gets better when you get size. I said, what level does this all get? He said, oh, about level 150. And I was like, level 10. And I was like, no, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this.
Yeah,
But when you learn about how that game culture works in like a place like Korea, how it works is you go to a internet cafe and you all jump on this game and you're sat round, having your coffees and your bagels playing this game, and it's basically something to do while you're sat round talking to each other. And the game is
yeah,
seriously low. You don't really have to concentrate to play the game, and that's deliberate to basically
yeah.
make it work like that. So that's the sort of like dislike I have in these sort of like grindy games. That's where I dislike them because just don't waste my time. I ain't got a lot of time these days to play a game. I don't want to waste it
Yeah,
killing.
I feel the exact same way nowadays. I
Yeah,
used to play, like I said, I've played a lot of MMOs over in my time. I think one of them that was very grindy was a game called Aeon, an MMO.
yeah, I've heard of that one.
Also,
That was Korean, wasn't it?
I think so. It
Yeah.
was very grindy as well. If I'm remembering it correct, at least. I think there was another one. I just can't remember what the hell it was called. Uh, I used to play it with a friend from Norway. Um, I just can't remember what the hell it was called, but it was also very grindy, and also had this like Korean style or Asian style, whatever you call it, to the artwork and
Oh,
whatnot.
anime style, so anime style.
Yeah, yeah, something like that. I used to, well, Skas as well. He used to play a game called Raiders, an MMO. My God, I missed that game. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
Yes, it had a certain element of grinding to it. Not too much, but it was a lot of the same, like go out until kill 10 of these mobs and kill 15 of those mobs,
Yeah.
collect 15 of those things and get them back again, and then get new quests where you have to do rinse and repeat. But you advanced throughout the maps, and here came that amazing thing called dungeons, and
Yeah.
the dungeons in that game was absolutely amazing. I think that was one of the funnest things about that game. That was its dungeons.
Mm.
Um, it was, but yeah, and I think Skas will vouch for that game as well, being a really fun MMO. But yeah, it don't exist no more,
That's a shame.
unfortunately.
That's a shame.
Yeah, we've talked about it many times, me and Skas, and we're like, oh, wouldn't it be cool being able to play that game again? I think they did something about rushing their release because the game wasn't really done yet. So rather than getting the game released, I think the goal of the game was to have like a max level of level 60. But when they released the game, the max level was level 35. but you got hints at when you got gear that you couldn't equip yet that there was you were meant to be be able to become higher up in level, which kind of ruined the experience that they kind of had a rushed release.
Yeah.
That's what happens,
That's one of the other things I dislike about MMOs is leveled gear, leveled locked gear. It's like, here's this sword, you can't use it yet, but it's a sword. But yeah, you can use the iron sword, but you can't use the silver sword because you need to go kill 10 more boar, and then you can use the silver sword.
Well, that's because you need to build your strength. This massive sword is too heavy. You can't lift it,
It's like, motherfucker, just let me go kill things here. Basically,
let me get my sword, yeah?
Yeah. Basically, when I play a game, I want to be able to go at the end of it and go, right, this evening or this time I play this game, I managed to achieve this, and this. If it's, I killed an awful lot of boar and rabbits and deer, that's not good enough for me. So, wait, I'll try not to start venting, because if I get onto MMOs, I could vent for a long time about my dislike of a lot of MMO mechanics. So I will steer clear of that.
All right.
Right. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about, Zaber?
No. Not at this point.
Brilliant.
I'm happy that we still get to continue doing this portion of Rant Nerds as well.
Yes, I am
so
too.
I thought it was very important that we kept everything about Rant Nerds alive. So I'm very happy we get to do these things still.
So am I. It's so nice to be doing this, and it's going to throw me because we're on a different day of the week, and I've been doing Saturdays for I can't remember how many years, and it's going to completely throw me now. But I'll see within a couple of weeks, like, oh, that's just normal now. But it's going to be great. It's so nice to find something that we managed to find time that we could do it, because that's obviously everybody's busy lives these days. So it's so nice to find time to do it, and I really appreciate you coming on board and doing this with us. I really appreciate it. So,
of course, dude. It's always fun.
It's always fun. Right, so just to finish off, we'll just go through things. So you can join us on our next games night for the King, which will be on the 8th of November. You can join me on my Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/SuffolkRam. I'm hoping to have that redirected to go to Round Nerds as well at some point. But at the moment, if you go to that one, you can see my Pacific Twitch channel there. Our next podcast will therefore be on the 9th of November.
Yes.
That's the easy way to remember now. It's always the day after games night, which will be at, it'll be at 6:30 GMT time, or whatever adjustment you need to make for your various location. On games like 8:30.
Just to be a cunt, if you happen to stumble across the podcast today, you missed our game night last night. Sorry.
yeah, you missed it. Oh, it was it was an exclusive games night last night. We didn't record or anything. We just streamed it, and we did amazing things.
Yeah,
we did so many amazing things. Yeah, it's the best one we've ever done in all times. You're going to be sad that you missed it.
Yeah, you missed it. Oh, too bad.
Yeah. You can also check us out our website, which is randnerds.co.uk. You've also got our YouTube channel, youtube.com/randnerds. And you can look out and find us in the future. So, I'll just say thank you, Zaber, for joining me this evening. Thank you, everybody.
For having me.
Thank you, everyone who's joined us this evening to watch. Look forward to seeing you in a fortnight's time for the next one. And from me, the Suffolk Ram,
Zabermoul.
We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Have a good evening, everybody.
You.